Hello, my name is Rachel and I work for Step 2 Young People's Health. This is a short video about identity. So when we consider identity, it is the qualities, beliefs, personality traits, appearance and/or expressions that characterise a person or group. And you can see some of them in the diagram to the right hand side. So an example of that, you might not necessarily have something to say about all of those sections. There are quite a lot there, and depending on your age, depends on which ones you will actually have as part of your identity. If you're only 12 years old, your marital status is obviously going to be single. So just for an example, I've created a person to the side there. They are 32 years of age, they are non-binary and asexual. They're a white Irish person of slim build. They have neurodiversities. They are or have ADHD, depending on how they refer to it. They're tall. They don't vote. They're a single person. An ICT manager. They're not of any particular faith. They would consider themselves to be working class. They have no children. They have a degree level education. And they're always wearing denim. Always wearing denim. Okay, so that is one person's identity, somebody that I've completely made up there. Other people will have different things that they consider to be their identity, or they might not consider to be their identity. So they might think that their socioeconomic status, so whether they're working class, whether they're really quite wealthy, they might not see that as part of their identity. And that's absolutely fine. There is no black and white. This is what you have to consider, and this is not identity. We do all share common features, but we are all unique. So if you think of all those segments on that diagram, there will be some similarities, some common features among us. So for example, there is a huge amount of people that are going to consider themselves Muslim. Or there might be a huge number of people that would consider themselves North American. But we've still all got unique features. It's unlikely, even in a population the size of our planet, it's unlikely that you're going to find two people who use exactly the same ways to describe their identity as everybody else. You can control parts of your identity, but some parts you have absolutely no control over whatsoever. So you can't control your skin colour. You can't decide that you're going to be born white. But you can control if you're going to follow a faith. You can control your employment. So we had the IT manager there. So you can control that. You can control your appearance. If you don't like the fact that you were born with black hair, you can do something about that. Your identity is going to change over time. So when you're a young person, you're not going to have that who do you vote for, you're not going to have the stuff about the job, you might not have any bits about beliefs. You might, but you might not. Okay, but as you get older, new things are going to come into play that form your identity. So at some point you might say, well, part of my identity is I'm a mum of 3. Or I'm a single dad. That's not going to be the case when you're young. That's come into play much later, and again you might add the bits in about your job and your appearance will change. I don't think any of us can say that we're all going to look exactly the same all the way through our lives. Your identity is yours. Other people can influence it, so they can encourage you to try new things, new parts of your appearance perhaps. They might encourage you to get your nose pierced or to get some tattoos or whatever. But they can't force you to be something that you're not. So that is down to you. There are influences all around us. They're not just people. Society influences us in so many different ways, encourages us to try new things or to dislike certain things. But they can't tell you who you have to be. That is all individual and specific to you. If somebody is trying to tell you that you need to change and you need to become somebody else, That is not a healthy relationship. And I'm not necessarily talking about romantic relationships. If your friend wants you to change to become somebody else, they're not actually friends with you. They're friends with the person they want you to be. And that's not a healthy relationship. So it might be that if somebody is trying to exert too much influence over you, that you need to question whether that friendship or relationship is healthy. Okay, so that was just a very short introduction to identity. It is part of the relationships and sex education curriculum in secondary schools. Should also be taught in primary schools as well. The three organisations that you see on the screen, we are working together across Bradford to deliver the RSE programme, Relationships and Sex Education. Step 2 also have a number of social media platforms. You can see them there. We've got this YouTube channel with many different videos on now. You can follow us on any of the social media platforms where we put out information, advice, guidance, that kind of thing. Or if you've got any questions, if you're struggling a little bit with your identity and you don't really know who you are yet, if you've got questions, feel free to drop us a message on one of those social media platforms and somebody will get back to you. We're not going to judge. We're not going to think, well, they should really know that by now. There's none of that. It's very, very straight down the line. We will give you advice, we will give you guidance, and we will talk you through it.